special session, ladies and gentlemen. It's being chaired by someone very special too. Mr. Pramod Kamath is the partner in K. Subraya, Anantha, Kamath and Sons. And as he joins us on the stage, let me tell you that he's been a student of engineering and MBA and has been in the cashew business from day one. During the last 21 years, he has seen the industry move from manual to mechanization and from tins to 250-gram packets. He's the third generation person in his family in the cashew business, and he brings innovation, efficiency, and has greased the wheel of Subraya to move into a fast-track path. As I invite you to take your seats, sir, it's time for me to start inviting our other young panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands up as I invite Mr. Chakravarthy Arumugam from Agro Chakra Internationals. He's the founder of Agro Chakra and ACI Traders Panruthi. He was a financial controller and tax consultant with the educational qualification of an MBA Finance, but with an objective to create employment in villages, he started the cashew processing unit in 2019 with 3 employees, and as a first-generation entrepreneur today, he employs more than 150 plus direct and indirect employees in a hamlet called Manadi Kuppam near Panruthi. Let's give him a huge round of applause for this achievement. Our next guest joining us on the stage will be from UB Aggarwal Group, Mr. Aarnav Aggarwal, a member of the UB Aggarwal Group, and a part of them, he's a third-generation business promoter. He's studying at the Indiana University, US, but he's already taking active part in the family business and the business activities to explore as to where is it that he would like to train his focus on. And in that process, he's here at the convention this year to network a little bit more. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker, our next panelist this morning will be Mr. Kannan Malla from Kannan Cashews. Well, Mr. Kannan Malla has a very interesting background. He was born and raised in Palasa, a town renowned for cashew manufacturing industries. No wonder he comes with an extra edge out here. After successfully completing his undergraduate studies in mechanical engineering, he moved to United States to pursue a master's in computer information systems at Boston University. This program is a blend of management and data science. And currently, he's actively networking at AICA 2024 to ensure that whatever is his next step, it falls in the right place. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker this morning will be Mr. Anil Kumar Patro of Mark Cashew Industries, Ganjan, Odisha. With a master's in global marketing management from Virginia Commonwealth University, US, he is also an MBA in marketing from Christ University, Bangalore, and a BCom in accountancy from Calicut University. And he's been in the family business since 2022. It's amazing to see like-minded people taking the family legacy ahead. Our next speaker this morning, some of you have already met him yesterday through his very dynamic father as well. I'm talking about Mr. Adeeth Rao Kalbavi of Kalbavi Consumer Foods Private Limited. Graduating from IIM Mumbai in 2019, presently the Managing Director of Kalbavi Consumer Foods Private Limited, Adeeth is a second-generation entrepreneur and has been in business for about 4 years. He oversees pretty much all the aspects of business totally actively. Our final speaker in this session will be Mr. Pratyush Nair from Vijayalaxmi Cashew Company. He is the Managing Director at Vijayalaxmi Cashew Company based in Kulon, Odisha, in Kerala. With extensive experience in food production, banking, finance, he excels in corporate finance, operations management, production management, CRM, and leadership. Let me tell you that Pratyush has been instrumental in driving the growth of Vijayalaxmi Cashew Company, which, as you're all aware, is one of the biggest producers and exporters of cashew. He holds a bachelor's degree in business administration with honors from Christ University, Bangalore, and a master's in management from Singapore Management University. That's a loaded panel for you, but I'm sure it's going to be quite fun. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're looking forward to this as much as we are backstage. Let's give them a resounding round of applause as I leave it to the chairperson.
When we thought about this session, we thought about what will the new generation think about cashew business. So my attempt has been to bring out something out of it. And we've been chatting away for last 1 week. And our hope is we'll give the insight of the new generation in this session. I'll start with you, Kannan. You're presently studying in the United States and looking forward to joining your father's business. So what are your motivations to join the business?
The main motivation for me to join in this business is because I was born and brought up in this industry. I have seen how this industry has grown from last few years, and I strongly believe that it will grow even more in the next coming years. I also strongly believe in the Make in India initiative. I think this is the right time to get into this industry and expand it to the global, expand it to the international markets. And as I told you earlier about the Make in India initiative, we can always use the resources, we can always leverage the resources, we can create jobs, and mainly we can contribute to India's growth. And this is the only thing that motivated me to join in this industry.
Fantastic. Along with Kannan, we have Aarnav also, who is also presently studying as well as active in the business. Arnav, can you add to it? What is motivating you to join the business now?
I mean, my main motivation has always been that I was born in a business family. Since I was a little child, the first thing I used to hear in the morning was talks about business and go to bed with the talks about business. You know, my mind has always grown in a certain way, being in a very business family. And what motivates me to join this business, especially the cashew business, is because I feel the cashew business has immense potential. You know, coming into the future, we can tap into international markets and everything. So I feel like that's something that has always motivated me to come into the family business.
Do you think the business is soft and sexy, just like the startup things that are going on nowadays?
Yeah, definitely. I feel if led with right branding, and if we can add more value added products or innovative products to this industry, I feel like this industry can have a very nice appeal and sophistication to the general public. I feel everyone can have, like, we can tap how I talked about earlier was that we can tap into global markets if we have that certain product, you know, something that's new to the market, because of the global new society wants green products, they want healthy products, healthy snacks, and I feel like being in a cashew industry, we can provide that. So
fantastic. So we have that audience poll there, and the audience says that entrepreneur spirit is actually driving everybody to join the cashew business. That is fantastic. Which is, and the second thing, I think, there is a lot of inspirations from the elders. I think all of us have really seen our parents work hard in the industry, and we've been always inspired by them. Anil, when you joined the business, what was the most exciting part for you?
Hello. So before joining my business, when I used to visit the market, like for example, where we sell cashews in Haryana or in Haryana or UP, we used to visit the markets. So I used to see the value of our brand in those eyes, like eyes of customer. One person came to me and he asked for my brand. So that was the main motivation behind joining like business in today's date, and that is really important for our generation. That people value our product. So that was the main motivation for me to join this industry.
So you saw the success of the business and
Yeah.
you are inspired to join it.
Yeah, and since my childhood, when my grandfather used to run a mom and pop store, so that time also I used to sit in the business and talk to the customers. I like talking to customers more, and I like to take feedbacks from them. What is good, what is bad, how to improve my product. So that really motivated me.
I think that's very important, that he was involved, you were involved in the business early on in your young age.
Yes.
That really mattered a lot. I think most of us did some little bit of work with our parents in our factory or whatever,
Yes,
in
yes.
whatever level, and that really uh, helped us to know the business better.
For example, coming to
But
this event.
could you tell any disappointments you had when you after you joined the business formally?
Yeah, regarding that also. So when I joined the business, it was really exciting. The outer layer looked like very good. But after coming into the business, we came to know that the market runs on credit, especially the Odisha market. It runs on credit. So that was very important for me to ensure the cash flow is there in the business. So what I ensured is to reduce the prices and move towards a cash basis, like it goes in Bangalore. They are really good in circulating their money in cash flows matter. So I concentrated in that. So that like I would not say it was a drop. It was a disadvantage. Like it was a like it was a feedback for me to increase.
Good, excellent. Next question is to Pratyush. Uh, you've been in business for some time now. Uh, so, but before you joined the business, you had a good stint in the corporate world. You were in the Commerce Bank in Singapore. Uh, how did that help you when you joined back the business? What is that
Yeah.
corporate stint give you?
Yeah, see, just to start off, I always wanted to join the business ever since I was young. And, I'm a fourth generation cashew processor, and I wanted to join continue the family legacy. So that being said, my educational background was also, uh, my interest in joining the business paved the path to that. So I chose commerce in school. I did my BBA, specializing in finance, and then my master's in operations. Regarding, I think you also wanted to know about the education and how that has helped me, right? The
Sure.
international education. In terms of my master's, I would definitely say that the courses that are taught over there, the curriculum has a lot more practical element to it, and you have a different outlook towards it because you're taught with case studies and whatnot, which you can relate to in your industry. So that was one factor. And in terms of the work that I did, I was with a finance and accounting company initially, and then in the banking sector, uh, which is very different from the food processing sector. But certain things like management methods, professionalism in general, management information system, bringing in some tech, organizing in general, those were certain elements that I could bring into the family business as well. And and one other thing is, see, I think being an employee before being an employer enables you to empathize with your workforce a lot better, and that goes a long way.
I guess what you're saying is it's good to actually join the business after working for a year or two. It really give you an edge.
Definitely, it gives you a different perspective.
Okay. Can we have the second question for the audience? Adeeth, you too worked in Cipla before joining Kalbavi Consumer Foods. So, do you think that helped you? Is it helping you?
No, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I was fortunate enough to be in a managerial position in Cipla. So one thing that exposure taught me is something that we call governance. So over the last couple of days as well in this event, I'd been interacting with a lot of my colleagues. And I think the fundamental problem that everybody was having was knowing how to manage their workforce. Everybody is struggling to process, 3 metric tons, 5 metric tons, 10 metric tons, but they want to process more. I've heard everybody who's coming here, they're aspiring to double their production, triple their productions because they're seeing cashew as a commodity really growing well. But the biggest, setback that they're having is that they're not able to manage their workforce well enough. To be able to manage their workforce well enough, I think it's very important for us to know exactly what it is that a person is capable of doing in order to optimize your resources and then get the best out of them and then hence be the most efficient person in the field. So what Cipla has taught me in that governance is to understand the people's ability to understand how much responsibility that we need to allocate to them and how to govern them in a way that we're, we're at the most cost efficient position that we are, because ultimately, see, cashew, everybody knows cashew is a commodity. And commodities are very lean on margins. So ultimately, we need to be really efficient in our ways if we need to, plan on growing big, plan on, making a big difference in the industry.
Great, great. We have a different perspective now. Most of us are all sons of our father. I mean, everybody is the son of a father. but uh, but most of us are second generation or third generation or fourth generation in the business. We have in Arumugam first generation in business. He's a tax consultant, 10, 15 years he's been working as a tax consultant, and now he's started his own business. And when he started his own business, you chose Cashew. So what is your driving force to start this?
Hi, good morning to everybody. I'm very excited to see such a big crowd in the last session of the event with all 3 days. About myself, with 15 years of working experience in different companies and a satisfying bank balance, 2 quotes made me to think very deep. One is, the ship is very safe at the port, but it's not made for that. And the second one is, what do you do with what you have is more important than how much you have. These 2 quotes, I took it as my essence of the life-changing part. So one more thing, actually, what I felt in my surrounding, my friends and families, apart from myself, nobody is developed in economically developed in such a way, in a great way. So I thought of doing something to my friends, family, as well as to the society. So initially, I thought of entering into the agriculture business. So literally, I want to go and do paddy cultivation. So initially, all my well-wishers and elders have told me entering into cultivation of agriculture definitely will be very difficult and it will lead you to a loss. So I was very afraid and I ignored that field for that time. And being originate of Banduti, though I born in the Banduti, I didn't brought up there. We migrated to the city. So I thought of going there and starting the cashew industry will be ideal. Being a first generation entrepreneur, did not want to take too much of risk. So it will be safe one for me to start in my own village. And it will be helpful to the people in our village, to our friends and family also. So I started such a way and it's working very fine. This is how actually I entered into the business 6 years back and overall it's going well.
So you started the business almost when the COVID started, isn't it? But you have a lot of help from your family members also.
Yeah, obviously, yes. Once my uncle told me, General, if somebody starts a cashew business, everybody in their house, including the dog also, will have some task to carry out. That time, actually, I didn't realize. I just was laughing at him. Over a period of time, I realized what he said is 100% correct. So today, all my family members are supporting me. In fact, actually, their support is needed for us. Being a first generation entrepreneur, building a company is not a small thing, must be everybody knowing that. So they support me in such a great way. That's a thing actually the company is in a short while we are able to manage and scale up the business.
That's a wonderful thought, that having, thinking of the entire factory as our own family. I'm sure everybody here thinks of our entire factory as our own family. And this is a part of the value system that most of the family businesses in India have. How important do you think is the family values in business decisions or running the business? Arnav, can you start? I would like everybody to answer this question. How does family values help you in decisions?
I feel like family values is one of the most important things, as it can make your company more sustainable and reputable. It makes your company stand the test of time, if whatever the principles you've been always standing on. For me, I've always learned that main principles that you should always have is integrity, transparency among the companies, and as well as the commitment to innovation and quality.
Amazing.
So I feel like that's something our company was always built on, and I feel like me or even any of my siblings, when we carry on for our businesses, we'll always have these principles to guide us, you know.
Amazing. Kannan, could you add your opinions on that?
Yeah, what I believe is our parents has already built the foundation for us, and it's our task now to take it to the next level. And we, I mean, I don't know how our parents dealt with this before, but we have a lot of pressure on us because we need to, I mean, we need to expand it in a way where we shouldn't, come back to the previous age. So what I believe is we also have a lot of pressure in expanding in our own business.
Great. Anil?
Regarding family values, like it is very important to operate a business. Since last 25 years you're operating in this business, so this family values will always keep you grounded to your true values. And even if you grow like more, if you are growing with all of your family members or your employees, that will definitely help give you multiple rewards same time. So that really helps in improving your business.
Adeeth, would you like to add?
Uh, yeah, I mean, if I were to put it, I agree with pretty much what everybody said were on the same lines. But if I were to just give a example of my own self, so I'm pretty sure that everybody in this venue already knows about how much work my father has done for the industry. So it just shows as a testament. Every single time I go and introduce myself to somebody, I say, "Hey, I'm Adeeth Kalbavi." So the minute what they expect basically is the same set of value systems that they've seen in my father. By default, they expect the next generation to showcase those values on their own as well. And that, I think, is a great testament to show how other people also view your family values, your values, and if you resonate with the same values that have been passed on from your previous generation. That's on the business front. But even so far as to say that if you go into your own factory, your own workers, they see how the previous generation has treated them, and then they go on to see how the next generation is treating them. And if they see the same kind of resonance that they saw, that comfort level increases, the productivity increases, they get more motivated. And that is, I think, one of the main reasons why we see why I also feel that it's really important to not only retain those values that have come from the previous generations, but also to focus on your own cores and beliefs, and then add additional value systems to take uh, to create a more positive impact, I would say, going forward.
Beautiful. Pratyush, how does it really help you in decisions? Could you add something like that?
Decisions, right? So I think every company and family must have values, objectives, and goals, and this should actually, see, for example, my grandfather had a set of beliefs. He followed certain values. He had a vision, which he followed, and it was followed by my father and my uncle as well. And that was passed on to us, the new generation now. So in terms of decision making, I think if you have that set core values in your mind at all times, it enables you to take decisions. Whoever the decision maker is, you know that you have the company's best interest at heart.
Fantastic. I think this is something we should take back home as a learning, especially for the older generation, that you instill some great values into your business, into the way you are operating. You will ensure a longevity to your business by the virtue of what values you have installed in your the way you operate, how you behave with the customers or your employees or any stakeholders. And these are not the only 6 people I have spoken to. I have spoken to many other youngsters like them. Isha is one of them from Bolas, and there are a couple of others. And I find this, that all the young generation have really, really understood this value system is very important. Kudos to you on this. Let's have a good applause. Let's look at, should the next generation work in the corporate world for 1 or 2 years before joining their family business? What does the audience say? Oh, a majority, 81% says yes, it helps in learning management methods and systems to grow family business. Okay, that's a good sign. no, joining family business immediately gives more experience. Yeah, there are a few of us who think that. I had this response from some of the young generation themselves who thought that joining directly makes much more sense rather than delaying and going into working under someone. Whereas at the same time, other people said that working under somebody gives you humility and gives the perspective of an employee whom you have to deal with tomorrow. So, no, they may not return to the family business. Yes, that is a fear. I know everybody has this fear. You guys are not expressing it, but yeah, but that fear is there. It is up to you to make your business sexy and so that your new generation will join you and take the mantle forward. Let's move on. Let's move on to how education is impacting our business. So, Kannan, you're studying, and what part of your education do you think will help you in the business in the future as you join? Can you put some light on the technology part or something like that?
Yeah, I actually love this question because this is something related to what I'm studying right now. I actually made a small flowchart. I don't know whether I can present it now or not.
Can we put it up on the...
Yeah. Firstly, thank you so much for this opportunity, and I'm still pursuing my master's, and correct me if I'm going wrong. So this is the process which we all know, the cashew manufacturing process, and there are a lot of new techniques which can be involved in our industry, which can be implemented in our industry to make the process easier, to save money, time, and most importantly, energy. So I have included some techniques. I think many of them are already into this industry, but I'll quickly go through them. The first two techniques are related to the shelling process, and one of them is artificial intelligence. So there are computers called quantum computers, and these computers can actually read the thickness of the shell. By doing this, the pressure will be applied on the shell accordingly, which will make the process easier, which will reduce the broken percentage. And the second technique is nanotechnology. This technology is already into many businesses, but this can be also implemented into our industry. What this technique is basically, we can implement the nanoparticles into the nuts, which will loosen the bond between the shell and the nut. By doing this, the broken percentage will decrease, and the count of nuts will increase. And all the other technologies are related to every step, every process. Few of them are robotics and machine learning. There are many people, the new machinery is already into this sector, and machine learning, I saw a few machineries yesterday. They already, I don't want to talk more about machine learning because it's already in our business. And the next thing is IoT. Mahesh sir was talking about it, I guess. So IoT, we can include sensors for temperatures, humidity, and all these things. We can include as many as sensors possible in our industry, so that the plant manager will have the access to each and every machinery. We will also get to know when the machine will run into trouble, and we will also get to know, we can react to that very fast. And the last thing is VR training. There are many machines in our industry which are imported from other countries, and it's really hard for our labor to train for those machines. So what we can do is we can bring the VR technology. By doing this, we will save time, we will save energy, and we also will save money. So the labor in our industry can get the training from the person who is located in another country. So these are the few techniques which I want to talk about. And
fantastic.
As you can see, robotic hands, it's already into many industries, and we can involve that in our industry as well. And the last thing I wanted to tell is about the 3D printing technology. We can create value addition products from cashew nuts. I have also included a small video. We can create new type of products from cashew paste. If possible, can you please play the video?
Boost fruit and veg intake in aged care residents, children, even military personnel, incredibly using 3D printing to produce a small meal packed full of nutrients.
A plate of art, good enough to eat.
We can do these products with cashew paste. We can increase the value of the products.
It might not look like a
We
substantial
can sell the
meal, but
same
this
100
puree is
kgs
filled
of
with the
cashews for
ingredients
a
of spinach
much
frittata,
better price.
eggs, ricotta, feta, onions, and garlic.
We want to
Fantastic, Kannan. Superb. Uh, there will be many questions in your mind that is this possible? Is this not possible? Is this excess? Artificial intelligence, machine learning, etc. But what I wanted to showcase to you was the enthusiasm the new generation has, that they're going to join the business, and this is what their aspirations are, that they are looking at implementing all the systems that they have learned, their education that they have studied. As they are learning, they're actually trying to connect to their father's business, that tomorrow I'm going to join the business and this is what I want to do. And everywhere I have spoken to all these youngsters, they're all studying, choosing their courses based on what they want to do in their father's business. This is a very mature young generation, I would say, which is no longer like saying, asking their parents, what should I do? You go do become man and come tomorrow to the business. No, this generation is taking it upon themselves to choose what they want to learn so that tomorrow that is going to be useful to them. I think it deserves applause. At the same time, I would like to ask Adeeth, do you think technology is really a game changer? Do you see it as an opportunity or a threat?
So I'm only going to see technology as an opportunity. I'm not going to see it as a threat only for one reason, because the threat is nothing but competition. And competition, I believe, exists regardless of technology. With or without technology, competition always exists. We just need to find a way to, make sure how we're ahead of the curve. The reason why I see it as an opportunity is, unfortunately, the major bottleneck, or I'd say the major cost driver even today, is nothing but manual labor. And we all know that manual labor is only going to keep increasing as time increases. The minimum wages act, that is going to keep increasing. The complexities keep increasing. It's always going to be more towards favoring the workers. And unfortunately, the way our trade is set up is that the increase in bottom lines that we can draw into the business, it just can't keep up with the rising costs in terms of labor. So I don't see anything but technology as an alternative to reduce that cost. But having said that, at the same time, we need to understand that it's not, on either extremes. You can't just say that, technology is everything that we need and we're only going to implement technology and we're going to look at moving away from manual labor completely. It's important to understand where manual labor is required, where to position them, and where technology can really help in terms of adding value. Because ultimately, cashew is a very complex commodity. It is the most complex nut, or let's say commodity, in terms of processing in the entire world. And that is simply because no two cashews are alike. That is the reason why it is impossible to build technology which can, produce 100% accuracy in terms of processing every stage the way you want to.
Yeah, true. Pratyush, what is your opinion when you're running multiple factories across India?
Yeah, I think Adeeth already covered most of it. But see, I think one angle that I want to highlight over here is probably, earlier when it was manual processing, the differentiation aspect between each factory or company was quite drastic. Everyone had that was their value system, that was their USP. That is how they stood out from their competition. But now with the mechanization coming in, that differentiation is actually reduced to a large extent.
Yes.
So that is something that, and with further enhancements in technology, that gap is even going to shrink further. Another angle that I also wanted to highlight is, he was mentioning in terms of efficiency. So earlier, approximately 7 to 10 people were required to process one bag back in the days, probably a decade ago. And now it has come down to, one person can process, say, 2 bags and or less, more than that. So that is a major achievement. And, in terms of the newer technology that's going to come, again, that number is going to further increase.
Great. See, my workers in the peeling section, before we mechanized, would give me a report. Everybody should have had this experience. Today the skin is very tough. Okay, we are not able to peel. And then we went ahead and invented the peeling machine, right? We went and discovered all the... And what did we do? You just lost your advantage of what you were exactly doing. By doing the manual thing, you had the business with you. And the day you made it easier, you sort of opened up the avenues to a multiple threats from everywhere, right? Of course, it's inevitable. Somebody is going to invent something or other. But the takeaway is technology is not everything. Technology would be advantageous to you when you're wielding it properly. Technology can also break you when it is...
Yeah, but like Adeeth also mentioned, in terms of availability of workforce, the pay that you might have to give them, it might not be viable in the future to continue the manual processing model. So, yeah.
Coming to Arumugam, you are the first generation, so are you doing only cashew nuts or are you doing something else also?
Actually, we are dealing with all the dry fruits. The reason being, as I told you, I entered into cashew business without any pre-plan. I just jumped into the business and gone in the flow. So initially, we want to have only cashew. In the initial stage itself, actually, we wanted to go for a sales. We found it's very difficult because actually we didn't have any sale plan to where to go, where to sell, and what is the market and how to promote these. At one point of time, we thought actually we have to go and meet small retailer, as well as we thought approaching the consumers. Being a small processor, we thought that small quantity can be sold in the consumer level itself. So initially we initiated that process, approaching the consumers as well as the small dealers. So that point, the first question they asked me is, why should I come to only for cashews? As we have the need for almost all the dry fruits. That's sparked us. I felt it's advantages for us also. The reason being, we already employed some people for the sales, and we make some expenses for the marketing also. So what we thought, adding a basket of product while going to meet a customer, rather than going with a single product, going with a basket of product will be more value addition. Also, it will give more profit as well as sale volume also will increase. So such a way we initiated. And another advantages of scaling of our other dry fruit business was the COVID. COVID started after 1 year of our starting our business. I felt personally two things COVID was good for us. One is it taught us the value of the health. And people started feeling the health is the more important than anything else in the world. And for us, actually, it is an opportunity to market and this one, other dry fruits also. So we took it as an opportunity, and we scaled up other dry fruits also in a very short while. Thank you.
Fantastic, Arumugam. Anil, what do you think? Do you think we have some opportunities like this, what Arumugam has done? Even though we are focused on cashew, do you think we have any other synergistic opportunities?
Yeah, so regarding diversification, it is very important nowadays to diversify. As you know, now cashew has become a seasonal product. You can see that the demand is seasonal. Like for 15 days, the demand is there. After that, 15 days, one dry day comes. Completely dry, no demand, no phone calls, no calls at all. So it is very important for all the manufacturers in this sector to diversify the business. If you are doing value addition such as flavoring and adding almonds or other dry fruits into their category, as they have the supply chain, that is dry fruit supply chain, they supply to. So it is very easy for them to enter into dry fruit chain. And what I was planning personally is moving into the snacking industry. So the mom and pop stores, they sell Lays packets or Haldiram packets. So that is very lucrative business. That is also a very lucrative business. And as I did my research and found out that in Odisha and Andhra, there is demand for local snacks, local snacking products like 5 rupees packets, 10 rupee packets. So that venture also I'm looking into. And before this session, then one session happened about eggs. I was also researching about eggs. That is also a very good idea to move into. And one more point is everyone industrialized eggs production, but nobody industrialized mutton production, lamb production. That's why the prices are too high. Even if you compare today, prices of chicken might be around 200 rupees or 150 rupees compared to lamb, which is 1000 rupees. That is a very big parity. So we can move into that sector
So
also.
you're looking at synergistic opportunities as well as other avenues of
Yes,
newer
yes.
businesses also.
Yes.
Not restricting yourself to the tradition of cashew nuts. Yeah, Sunday ho ya Monday, let's add one cashew nut. So, coming back to you, Pratyush, see, yours is a very large organization and something your grandfather started long ago. He was a very, very successful person. But in 1960s, he developed management systems that enabled him to operate hundreds of kilometers away from his headquarters. This is in the 60s. Okay, we are in 2024. I don't think many of us have succeeded it. Could you shed some light to everybody? What are those things?
Yeah, so I think like you said, my grandfather was one of the visionaries behind this business model, you know. He did expand outside the state as well. And so his main idea was, you know, you have to find the right person for the job, build the right team around it, delegate the tasks to them accordingly, and make sure that they're accountable. I mean, it's very easy to say, but it's very, very challenging. It was a major risk as well, which we took. And, you know, to back all that, to make sure everything is under control, we made sure that there is a proper reporting system in place. Even back then, in our own ways, we had certain management information system. Now it's all very, you know, technologically savvy. But earlier, back in the days itself, we had a very solid reporting system through lot reports and whatnot. We had, you know, constant communication and very frequent audits that happened. So that enabled us to keep control and still grow.
Fantastic. So you chose the right people. That is, your grandfather chose the right people
and built the right team.
Had an extensive system of monitoring even in those days,
right?
Which was critical to, which is even critical today. But he realized this
challenging as well. Yes.
He realized this long ago.
Yes.
Adeeth, you have moved. You and your father, Prakash Kalbavi, now have jointly decided to move and make it into a private limited. You have already successfully converted to private limited. So why did you take this decision of going into a company format? And do you think it will help you tomorrow in management or growth? Can you?
Yeah, so I mean, we were a partnership firm for, I think, exactly 35 years. But at some point of time, I think we need to sit down and see what is our vision? What is our future going to look like? As a company, where do we want to go? And so that is why I think ultimately what we realized is, see, from an organizational standpoint, if I just talk about the structure, a partnership firm is always not as stable as a company, because a company in a company is the entity, and everybody else are just employees of that entity. In a partnership firm, it's very easy to have disagreements. It's very easy to have fallouts, and the minute you have a fallout, it impacts business continuity, right? So there is a threat to the business that it can just shut down overnight. Let's just say someone wants to wind up the business and he closes down, takes out all the money and goes. Nobody can ask him any questions. He's not answerable to anybody because it's within his right to do it. So I'm just coming back to a full circle where I say that, as a commodity, cashew is always going to come down to costs and efficiencies and, margins. So to be competitive, we knew that going into a professionalized structure, there would be more confidence in the company. So we would become more efficient. while the compliances would go up, lending costs, interest rates would come down, taxation would be a major saving, because when we look at partnerships, I think it was at the highest tax structure. So taking these factors into consideration, as well as professionalizing our ways moving forward, putting systems in place, not just working in a very arbitrary manner. We wanted to go through with that vision where we have a set goal for let's say the next 3 years, the next 5 years, as to what we want to do and where we want to take that company forward. So growth basically was the main vision, and to achieve that growth, what we needed to do, this was the first step to take in order to do that, to professionalize the entire system. So that is the reason why.
You want to add something to it, Anil?
No, I think my colleague just asked me whether we wanted to list our company in the stock exchanges. So, I mean, as far as I've thought about it at this point of time, we haven't decided to do that. I truly believe that in every company, we need to have total control of how the business goes, at least to a certain scale, right? So I believe that we need to, these kind of strategies where what he said, listing on a platform is a strategy to raise money. And so in our point of view, if we were in need of that money in order to achieve the vision plan that we have for the next 3 to 5 years, it would probably make sense. But we are not in a phase where we do that. We're not big enough to do that. We have a vision where right now we're able to grow organically within our own funds, within our own efforts. And we believe that we have the resources that we need to take us there in the near term. So that is the reason why currently we are not looking to list our company. My father has put in hard work for 35 years to take it from where it is to from where it was to where it is today. That hasn't come overnight, right? So we are very fortunate that we've been given this platform as a base where already so many good things are happening, and to see how we can take it forward with the with the current trends changing very actively. It's very important for us to recognize what the future is. We've all spoken about what has been happening up until this point of time, but the future is very, very different. It is not what is happening today. It is, certain parts of it have already started coming into motion, but it is not about what is happening today, but what it is going to be 10 years down the line. We need to really be prepared for that, and take corrective steps today if we have to reach there 10 years down the line.
Very true, very true. So basically, Anil, what he's trying to say is, he doesn't need the money. And I'm sure all the partnership firms are not yet changed to private limited, because not many of us are making money. So there is nothing there to save taxes on. Yeah, the tax is lesser on the private limited, but people who are not moving to private limited is because there is no money to pay taxes.
There's actually a big myth that with private limited, there is a lot of additional compliances. It is really hard to do, etc. But what I would tell everybody is, don't keep believing, things that you hear from a few people. Dip your foot into the water first, see what the experience is like, and then you'll learn what the actual truth is.
Sure, sure. Coming into how the business families make decisions. Arnav, even though you're still studying, I know you're involved a little bit. So could you shed some, yours is a large group, the UB group is a large group. You are into coal, you are into steel, so but you love cashews. But you are taking decisions, and so how is the family operating? How do you have a discussion among family members when you're taking decision? Is there some sort of democracy, or what is the system?
Okay, so in our family, most of the decisions in regards to purchases, sales, operations, strategies, everything is more of a collaborative effort. There's a discussion among the members who are playing a big role in the business right now. And moreover, while there is a sense of democracy with, major decisions are always taken collectively, there is one rule that's always been in our family is whoever is the head of a certain department gets the final veto over after the discussion. Doesn't matter if they think it's the right thing to do, they'll do it. If that's how we work. And I feel like that has been how our business has been run for now 3 generations. So I feel like that even when I start the business, I would not want the management or the organization to change that way. So that's
wonderful. So you have a sort of collaborative decision making, but at the same time, there is a authoritative delegation to each family member. Of course, he will be accountable for his decision finally, I guess. Anil, would you like to add something to this? What kind of, how are you and your father probably discuss things on this?
We have our own client sets. So whatever clients I manage generally, so I do that. Whatever clients he manages, so he talks to them directly. Regarding purchase, my dad handles everything. But sales, we cooperate with each other and we do that dealing.
So you do extensively consult with your father all the time, and there's a lot of back and forth discussion.
Yeah, back and forth discussions goes on regularly.
Wonderful. Arumugam, uh, Arumugam, yeah. When we were discussing, you told me that your workers come to you with the discussions. Could you tell me something more about how you are involving your workers probably in decision making?
I personally feel actually nobody is expert in everything. Though actually it's a proprietary concern, I always try to take the opinion of all the stakeholders. So my friends used to tell me whenever I call for the decision, they will tell me already you could have taken the decision and you are asking us for some sake. It's not like that actually. Though I have made some decision or shortlisted whatever the final will be, always I want to take the opinion of the people. So it may help me to understand the exact need for that process or change or strategy. In many situations, actually, I also changed my decision also. I personally feel discussing with the entire stakeholders and the experienced people and from the market also definitely will give value addition to the decisions.
Wonderful. I would like to end the session now with one final question to everybody. Two sets. Of course, the main thing is what do you think is the future of our cashew business, particularly? And do you think we can somehow get back into the export business? I would like start with Pratyush.
Yeah, I think I'll quickly address the export growth first. See, India's export has declined by around 60% over the last decade. That was also projected in yesterday's presentations. See, honestly, I don't see a short-term solution to this. But definitely, like we had discussed earlier, and the Minister of, there was Dr. Femina from the Ministry of Agriculture. She had also mentioned certain initiatives to increase the local RCN production within the country. And if we have to ensure that that level is going to reach a stage where we can satisfy our domestic consumption and simultaneously look at exports as well. But that is a very long-term picture, 20, 25, 30 plus years, I'm not too sure. But definitely that is one area how we can, increase our exports in the long run. But definitely in the short run, certain things like, machine subsidies that are provided, it will enable a processor to scale up their production and also in an efficient manner, in a more economical manner, thereby trying to, get a better pricing model. Second is the export subsidies and incentives can also kind of incentivize them to start exporting. And
do you think you're positive that we can capture more markets? I'm asking the young blood, do you think you can capture the markets back? What probably we have lost?
Yeah, I mean, there is opportunities in the value addition field, I think, because, not just as plain whole cashews, but certain value addition and then exporting it might make more sense because the value addition is nowadays done in countries like, say, US, Europe, where the cost of value addition is much more higher than that of India. So there is an opportunity in that space, I agree.
Okay.
but it's something that everyone
Now,
has.
what do you think about the cashew business? How are we going to fan out? Is it like, what do you think about the cashew business? About the future of our business?
The future of it, okay. I mean, definitely India's consumption is high and growing. The global consumption is definitely growing. And we as processors, we should seize this opportunity, try scaling up our operations,
Great.
and, go with the growth.
Adeeth?
I'll just add on to whatever Pratyush has already said. I won't repeat the same thing again. So in terms of exports, the first reason why I see, that it's still a little a far off dream for us to reclaim exports is, in order for us to export, the supply scenario in our country has to go so much more than what it is now, that there is no choice but to export. Because right now, if you're looking at the scenario, people don't have incentive to export. So why will you export when you're realizing 50, 60 rupees higher in the domestic market, right? So it has to not be an option. And for it to not be an option, we need to take our processing to a level where we're generating. Right now, the amount of surplus that we're generating is negligible. You hardly, export 10 to 15 containers, that surplus is just sucked away. So then we come back to stage one. We need to move into an era of sustenance where the supply is perpetually high enough to sustain export operations. So that is my take on exports. In terms of the future of cashew, I think a lot of things fundamentally have to change. What we were looking at our history from what we were back in our traditional days, I think cashew processing originated in Mangalore. And because Mangalore was always, looked at as a premium market, we developed our business model, our processing model in such a way where we derived the most value from it. But that is because it was localized at that point of time. If you look at it today, we are seeing pockets of manufacturing centers coming up everywhere. You started off in Pandrutti, then in Palasa, then in Orissa, then in West Bengal, Kantai, Delhi, and every nook and corner of the country, you're now starting to see processing centers coming up. So we've already seen that shift from earlier in the days where itna kaju mujhe chahiye, I'm going to place an order, mujhe 5 din mein milega, ye price pay karna hai. From that point, it has now moved to a place where I don't have any space. मेरे को इतना चाहिए, मैं आज order place करता हूँ, कल मुझे material चाहिए. And that is, I think, one of the main reasons why the shift has happened, where the local buyers find it more convenient to buy from the nearby processors itself, as opposed to spending more energy to reach out further. So serviceability is now becoming the name of the game, as opposed to price. Serviceability is now becoming the name of the game, albeit at a reasonable price. So this is one trend that we are starting to see. In addition to this, I think we need to constantly keep adapting to ourselves, because the perception even today, what is quality, right? So I asked a couple of my colleagues, my friends, when I was talking to them as to, we make this quality of cashews. We make three grades or four grades in every single size. So he just asked me one question. Okay, you're saying you're making these qualities. So between your first grade and second grade, can you imagine what is the question that he asked me? I didn't have an answer for that at that point of time, because that is, one of those triggers that made me start thinking as to what are we doing wrong. So the simple question that he posed was, between your first grade and second grade, is there any difference in nutritional information? So this is the kind of thinking that the new generation is starting to have. They're focusing more on health. Appearance, yes, to a certain extent, I'm sure that everyone needs to maintain. But the way, everything is changing, the dynamics, the way it is changing, it is so quick that we need to constantly keep adapting ourselves. And, cashew is always going to be evergreen. The consumption is only going to go up, there's no doubt. But we need to adapt and see how we need to face it.
Fantastic, Adeeth. Quickly, Anil, your opinion. We have just a minute, but please go on. Quickly, can you tell what do you think is the future of our cashew?
Yeah, so for the future, cashew seems like the consumption is increasing in India. Yesterday, there was a presentation where it showed cashew's consumption is around 3.5 lakh tons in India every year. And compared to all the nuts, it is the most. Okay. And though we have some plantation in India, but the main focus would be more plantation, I think, from the government side and all the cooperative bodies, that plantations should be more in India itself.
Okay.
I recently visited Tanzania. So there the view was they were planning to stop exporting raw materials to India in some years, coming years. Okay. So we should focus.
We should have more plantations in India.
Plantations.
Kannan, what about you? Quickly in
I think
one or two lines,
been
just two
covered by
lines.
my colleagues. What I would say is we should first satisfy the Indian consumption and then go into exports. And coming to the future cashew industries, I think we should definitely go into value addition. I think that might be the future.
Innovations.
Value additions.
Value additions.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
When I talk about the future of cashew business, I feel like if there is smart branding, we can make Indian cashew as a premium dry fruit globally, not just something that's a condiment or not something that's an add-on to a dish. It can be a premium dry fruit globally, just the Indian dry fruit. So I feel like first we capture the Indian market completely, make sure that we have the consumption, and then we can try and export into
Wonderful.
international
You want to do more of branding and you want to do more of value addition in those.
Definitely, yes.
Fantastic. Arumugam.
And in a single line, I will say there is a great potential, but I want to make a statement here. Already everybody knows actually almost more than 90% of the raw material are imported, which are processed in the India. I feel it will be a great threat to Indian processor in the upcoming years, maybe at least in the next generation. The thing is, already we read a lot of news. Some of the West African countries already stopped or limiting the export of RCNs. I used to hear from our Mr. Ramki to our government to increase the sapling of the cashew trees. And I am very happy to hear the same news from many of the speakers in the last few days. I was happy about that. And as a processor and as a CSR activity, I feel each and every one of us should take this initiative to our heart. And I think it will be a great help to the next generation of the cashew industry. Thank you.
Fantastic. My dear audience, please give a big round of applause to the next generation. I would like to leave with one small advice for you. By the time you realize that your father was right, you have a son who's telling you, Papa, you are wrong. So please listen to your father. But this generation is so promising. They are so focused on what they want. And I am amazed at their clarity in thought. Thank you very much, AICA, for having this session. And thank you, everybody, for bearing with us.